England's royal family.
I know she will bring to the demands of her new role the steadfast devotion to...
Prince William has reportedly found something surprising inside Camilla's car. A hidden secret in her glove box leaves him stunned. In just a few minutes, this secret sparks such a heated confrontation that King Charles is forced to act in a way no one expected. He calls security on his own wife. What could possibly be hidden in that unassuming compartment that would push a king to take such an unprecedented action? So join us as we uncover the shocking discovery by Prince William inside Camilla's car. Charles' call on security. The study had turned into a battlefield. Charles sat stiffly in his chair, knuckles pale and tight around the arms, every muscle tense. Across the room, Camilla lingered near the fireplace, her voice trembling and rising in a mix of fear and desperation. Between them, William stood like a silent anchor, his eyes fixed on the object lying on the desk, a quiet, accusing witness to the chaos unfolding. For years, Charles had faced crises with the calm of a man who had grown used to the relentless scrutiny of the public eye. He had endured scandals, insults, and endless gossip with measured patience. But now something deep inside him shattered. His voice, usually steady and controlled, snapped with sharpness, cutting through the heavy air of the room. Even the staff waiting outside the thick oak doors would have been startled by the sudden intensity. He demanded the truth. No excuses, no deflections. Every attempt Camilla made to explain only seemed to ignite his anger further. Her denials, her insistence that she had no idea how the incriminating item ended up in her glove box, rang hollow against the growing certainty in Charles's mind. Trust had been broken. He had defended her through decades of public hostility, fought to shield her from relentless criticism, and battled for her recognition as queen consort. And now, in this tense moment, he felt betrayed in a way words could barely describe. William watched quietly, his gaze flicking between his father and Camilla. He had not entered the study intending to ruin their marriage, but the evidence left no choice. His loyalty to the crown outweighed his personal discomfort. As Charles's voice grew louder, William realized something frightening. His father was no longer merely a husband struggling with suspicion. He was a king, weighing the very survival of the monarchy itself. That realization cast a sharp shadow over Camilla, leaving her cornered and vulnerable. Her pleas grew more urgent, threaded with panic. She insisted she was being framed, that external forces sought to destroy their family. Her eyes glistened as she looked to Charles, searching for the unwavering support he had always given her. But the king's patience, stretched to its absolute limit, was gone. The warmth that usually softened his gaze when he looked at her had vanished, replaced with a cold, unyielding resolve. Charles rose to his feet. His voice boomed across the study, declaring that this was no longer a matter of personal loyalty or affection. This was about royal survival. He would not allow carelessness, intentional or not, to threaten the crown he had fought so long to protect. His order for security to be called echoed through the room, final and inescapable. The door swung open almost immediately, and guards stepped in, their movements precise and disciplined. Their eyes scanned the tense scene without revealing any emotion. Camilla gasped, turning to Charles as if sheer will could make him retract his words. But his expression remained set, unshaken. For the first time in decades, he had put the crown above their relationship, a choice that cut deeper than any scandal, rumor, or betrayal ever could. William stayed motionless, yet the weight of the moment pressed down on him like a storm cloud. There was no turning back. And as security moved forward and Charles's patience finally broke, William understood with chilling clarity that the monarchy itself teetered on the edge of a storm it might never escape. How is situation in the palace before the sudden discovery? Let's find out. Palace atmosphere before the discovery. The cameras adored them. On the grand balcony of Buckingham Palace, King Charles and Queen Camilla often stood side by side, waving to the crowds with the calm poise and graceful dignity that everyone expected from monarchs. To the public eye, it seemed as if the stormy decades of whispers, scandals, and doubts had finally settled into a period of stability. Charles had taken the throne after years of anticipation, and Camilla, after long scrutiny and criticism, was gradually being accepted by many as his rightful consort. Outwardly, they appeared as a pair at ease with their roles, at peace with their destiny. But behind the gilded doors and perfectly rehearsed smiles, the palace was never truly tranquil. In recent months, those close to the royal household had noticed subtle shifts. Charles, always measured in speech and composed in emotion, carried a heaviness no amount of public ceremony could disguise. Camilla, once steady, confident, and seemingly unshakable, now sometimes seemed distant, her mind elsewhere, carrying a weight she refused to reveal. Even during moments of laughter with courtiers or charity events captured by photographers, a quiet tension lingered, like a shadow creeping beneath polished etiquette. It was not the kind of conflict that could be named outright, but rather one that simmered quietly, waiting for a spark. This delicate and tense world was exactly where Prince William had stepped in with mounting concern. Having grown up watching the fragile dynamics of his family play out under constant public scrutiny, William had learned to trust his instincts in ways his father rarely did. He knew when something felt wrong, and he acted decisively. In the early autumn of that year, during a visit to Clarence House, his instincts stirred once more. A gathering that began as ordinary would soon spark a series of events capable of shaking the very foundations of royal unity. The day had begun innocently. The palace courtyards gleamed softly under the mellow London sunlight, and staff moved with practiced precision, attending to every detail. William arrived to discuss upcoming engagements with his father and exchanged polite greetings with Camilla, who appeared as gracious and composed as ever, her smile unwavering. Yet, in the quiet pauses between conversation, William felt something unusual. The air itself seemed staged, as if an invisible barrier separated the polished appearances from the hidden truth. His attention drifted almost casually to Camilla's car, parked discreetly in the side courtyard. William knew the palace vehicles were maintained with meticulous care, inspected regularly by security staff, but something felt off. Perhaps it was the way the driver lingered longer than usual before handing over the keys, or the subtle way Camilla had brushed off questions about her schedule that morning. Whatever it was, a sense of unease clung to the atmosphere, one William could not ignore. At that moment, he had no idea that inside the seemingly ordinary compartments of that car lay a secret, one that would soon ignite a confrontation unlike any the royal family had ever faced. But was William having suspicion? Let's take a closer look. William's watchful stare. The quiet of Clarence House lingered in William's mind long after he had stepped out of his father's study. The conversation with King Charles had been measured and careful, talks of upcoming public appearances, the fine balance of keeping the public happy while carrying the weight of private burdens. Charles had listened, yes, but there had been a distance in his gaze, a subtle distraction, as if his thoughts were somewhere far away. William had grown used to that over the years, but today something felt different. Something gnawed at him. Perhaps it was the sudden hush after Camilla's polite laugh, so carefully pitched yet strangely sharp. Perhaps it was the way Charles had avoided her eyes when certain topics came up, a subtle hesitation that did not go unnoticed. Whatever it was, it left William unsettled, a restless energy that clung to him as he walked back toward the courtyard. There he saw Camilla's car, parked perfectly to the side. The afternoon sun caught the gleaming surface, turning it into a mirror reflecting the palace's impeccable image. Everything seemed normal, ordinary. And yet, for reasons he could not immediately explain, William slowed his pace. His eyes were drawn to the vehicle, a pull he would have shrugged off on any other day. But today felt different. There was an instinct within him, a quiet, insistent tug, one that had guided him many times before. He thought of the earlier tension, the subtle stiffness in Camilla's smile, the almost imperceptible pause when she spoke of her evening plans. William had been trained to read people, to sense the currents beneath the calm surface. What he'd noticed in Camilla stirred a warning deep inside him. He thought of his mother, Princess Diana, and how she had always spoken about listening to the quiet alarms of the heart. That same inner voice now pressed on him, urging him not to look away. Camilla's driver was nowhere in sight. The keys lay inside the car, and palace staff moved about nearby, oblivious. To anyone else, it was unremarkable. But to William, the sight sparked curiosity. He approached with careful steps, silent on the stone courtyard, mindful not to attract attention. A guard stood far off, distracted, granting him a rare private moment. He rested his hand lightly on the car, his reflection staring back at him in the polished paint. A quick pulse of unease ran through